everybody. Happy Friday. Happy to be on my mat with you guys tonight. Thanks for joining in. We're going to need a few props tonight if you have something that you can either makeshift if you don't have the official props. But we're going to need 2 blocks, and I myself only have 1 block, so I'm going to use a block and then one of my kids' toys as kind of a makeshift block, but a nice book would work as well, or 2 books, so we're going to need 2 of those. And then a blanket. Doesn't really matter what kind of blanket, we just need it to be in a nice roll. So maybe take a moment and get your props ready, and then we will start in child's pose. So meet there, please. In your child's pose, just make sure the knees are nice and wide, the big toes come to touch, and then just settle into it with arms extended but soft, forehead down on the mat, eyes closed. We'll take a few steadying breaths here. Start to feel the breath really lengthen, fill. In particular, feel the breath in the back body. With every breath, start to feel a little bit more of a letting go of the day and a little bit more of an invitation, a welcoming to the mat. One more full breath in. And full breath out. And then as you inhale, let your weight shift forward. Hands and knees pose. Tuck the knees in a little bit so they line up under the hips. Wrists directly under the shoulders. Moving through a few rounds of cat-cow here. So letting the belly be soft as you open the chest. And then as you empty out the breath, arch the spine, push the mat away from you, tuck your chin. And then again, moving with your breath in, filling up the belly, soft belly, open chest. Exhale to your cat pose, arch the spine. And just a few more rounds with your own breath. So tonight's practice is going to be a lot about strengthening and stretching the back body. So really being aware of the spine, how the spine moves, how the muscles around the spine support you. And so when you feel ready, come to a neutral spine. We're just going to walk the knees back a couple inches so we become more of a kind of low plank pose. And then as we exhale, we're going to drop our chest and our chin with our elbows tucked into the mat. Let's just hold for a beat here. So the toes are curled under, shoulders press away from the ears, give a little pull into the belly. And then all the way down to your belly. Lengthen out through your toes. Let's just take the tiniest, babyest cobra to start with. So float the back of your head and the back of your heart up a couple inches. Tuck those elbows in towards your ribs. See if you can smile any amount through the collarbones. Exhale, release right back to the earth. Curl your toes under, press back through your knees, and then come to sit on your heels. So walk your hands back. As you inhale, we're going to stand up on our knees, reach our arms up. So don't think about reaching back. We might get there after a few more rounds of this flow, but for now, just reach up through the fingertips. Give a little squeeze into the inner thighs and the low belly. Get really long through the sides of your waist. As you exhale, settle back to your heels. Just drop hands to your lap, neutral spine. As you take your next breath in, lift your heart a little bit, maybe press your shoulders back a little bit, and then as you exhale, super arch the spine, so press the back. Tuck the chin and look down at your lap, or even close your eyes. And then as you inhale, just nice fluid shift forward, hands and knees. As you exhale, we'll drop chest and chin. Hold for a beat, and then release all the way to your belly. Again, lengthen out through your toes. This time, let's walk the hands wide, pop up to fingertips, float the elbows up. So let your forehead rest on the mat. Touch the forehead down, really lengthen out through your toes. Now lift the forehead an inch or two off the ground. Start to peel the right shoulder open just a bit more than the left shoulder and take a peek over your right elbow. Come back to center, so you're looking down at the mat with the back of the neck long. And then we'll peel the left side a little bit, take a little peek to the left. And then back through center. Back of the neck is long, looking down. As you inhale again, really press into your fingertips, lift up just another inch or two. Exhale, release. Forehead to touch, hands slip back under the shoulders. Press yourself back to knees, and then to sit on your heels. Inhale, rise to your knees, reach up. This time, press the hips forward just a bit as you lift your heart up to the sky. Maybe reach the thumb side of your arms back a little bit. And then as you exhale, release, hands on your lap, neutral spine. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, little cat pose here in your seat. Inhale, back to hands and knees. So trying to move a little more fluidly with the breath. Wait for your next exhale, drop down. Knees, chest, chin. Inhale to your belly, take your little cobra. Exhale, release. Let's come back to cobra, but before we do, walk your hands back just a little bit, closer to your upper ribs. Tuck those elbows in, press into your hands, back to cobra. Maybe a little higher this time. Press the pubic bone down, pull your belly button forward a little bit. Exhale, release. Press back to your knees, sitting on your heels. Inhale, rise to your knees. Exhale, take it back a little bit, just a little lean back. Maybe tilt your head back any amount. Really hug the inner thighs in and try to send your tailbone down a little bit. Exhale, release. Hands on your lap. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, cat. Inhale, walk yourself forward. Last time through. Exhale, chest and chin. Inhale to your belly, little lift to cobra. Exhale, come right back down. Build your cobra a little bit, walk your hands back. Really anchor your feet, lift. Exhale, release. Press back to your knees. Seated on your heels. Inhale, rise to stand on your knees. Maybe a little more of a back bend this time. Push the hips forward, lift your heart. Exhale, release. Lift your heart with your inhale, feel your shoulders press back a little bit, and then as you exhale, round the spine, drop the chin. And inhale, come forward. This time, let's make our way back to downward facing dog. So go ahead and walk your hands forward, curl your toes under, press your hips back. Pedal the feet out a couple times here in your down dog. Reconnect to the breath. So walk your left toes in a couple inches, and then we'll send that right leg up. Press into your hands and really press yourself back. Any amount more, drop into your left heel. Now, keeping your right hip relatively squared to the ground, just bend your knee. So kick your heel towards your right glute. Big breath in. Send that right knee high, not out, but high. Good, and then as you exhale, send your heart forward. Keep that right leg how it is. Good. Push that right foot up to the sky any amount more, and then we're just going to step it through. One big step. Wiggle your left leg back, 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 and then drop your left knee to the earth. Settle for a moment with your fingertips on the earth, letting your hips just pull or shift or drop forward. Try not to round the spine too much or drop the chin. Stay lifted through the upper body, the heart, the shoulders, the crown. Bring a little more energy to the inner thighs, so give a little squeeze in, and then pop your hands up to your front thigh. Press both hands into that thigh so you can lift your heart and roll your shoulders back a little bit more. Maybe tilt your head up just a bit. Stay super engaged in those legs. As you exhale, release the fingertips to the earth. We're going to step back to downward facing dog. Pedal it out a couple times. And then as you inhale, draw yourself to high plank pose. Let your weight shift forward. Drop your knees, chest and chin. Lengthen out through the legs. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Press back through your knees to downward facing dog. Pedal your down dog out a couple times. As you inhale, we'll step your right foot forward just an inch or two, and then sweep your left leg up. As you let your weight shift forward naturally as you transition there, be aware of that, but then melt back again. Really press into the hands, lengthen through the sides of your waist. Drop that right heel any amount more to the mat. And again, we'll bend the left knee without kicking it out. Keep that left hip dropping down. Lots of energy in that left foot. Kick that knee up as high as you can. Big breath in. And then shift your weight forward. So you're coming into like a plank with that left knee bent. Push that left foot up to the sky. Big breath in. Open your heart. Exhale. Step it through. Make your adjustments. Wiggle that right leg back. Drop your knee. Find your fingertips, or maybe use your two books or your two blocks. Get that little hip stretch first. Then big scissor into the inner thighs, hands to your front thigh. We're going to press those hands into the front thighs. We roll the shoulders open, lift our heart. Maybe a little lean back. Maybe a little tilt back through the head. And then exhale, release, step back to downward facing dog, pedal, pedal. Inhale, high plank. Let the weight shift forward. Drop your knees, chest and chin. As you drop chest and chin, keep those elbows tucked in. All the way to the belly. Cobra pose. Exhale, release. So let's come back to cobra, but with those arms wide again. So pop your fingers out wide, and then float the elbows up over your wrists. As you inhale, float the head. So it could just be a couple inches off the mat. You might peel open a little bit more by really pressing down into the fingertips. Like there's a tennis ball between the thighs. Give it a squeeze. Press down into the tops of your feet. So legs are super engaged here. Heart is peeling open. Exhale, release. Chest, forehead, hands to the mat. Press yourself back to hands and knees, and then downward facing dog. So nice and easy, we're going to walk ourselves up to our hands, forward fold. Couple easy breaths here, let the head hang. When you're ready, root to rise, press down into the feet. Lift, reach, look up. Exhale, hands through heart, and then sit down in your chair. So settle into your bent knees, letting the weight shift back a little bit into the heels, hands right at heart to start with. See if you can open up through the heart space a little bit more. Feel the shoulder blades really draw down and in on your back. And so we'll start to bring the fingertips up and forward a little bit so that we can also connect our elbows and forearms in front of us. So take a breath in and a breath out, pressing hands, forearms, elbows in. And then as you inhale again, just open those arms up to cactus arms or both those arms as you float the heart forward. Maybe tilt your head up. And then exhale, close the arms. Round the spine, tuck the chin. So a little cat-cow here. Inhale, open it up, pull the belly button, the heart forward. Exhale, close it up. Find your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Finish it off. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, take a dive. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Bend the knees a lot so your fingertips or your whole hand can touch the earth, and then step back, high plank. Let the weight shift forward, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Come back to your forehead, cobra. We're going to take a cobra again. Scooch back a little bit here. Walk your hands back again. So instead of being under your shoulders, let them be next to your chest or your upper ribs. Again, tuck those elbows in. This time, press your forehead down, float your toes. Don't just float your toes, though. Reach the toes back, and then float your head. So as you float the head and kind of push with your hands, keep those toes engaged, but maybe now the toes touch the ground. And then like a little seesaw, touch the forehead back to the mat. Inhale, float the forehead, push into your hands, touch your toes back. Exhale, release. Forehead touches, toes lift. One more time. Press into the hands, lift the head, touch the toes. Finally, we're going to press back to hands and knees, and then all the way back to our downward facing dog. So pedal your down dog again a couple times. And then we're going to send those left toes in a couple inches. Float the right leg. This time we are going to bend the knee and kick it out, and then stack the hips. Any amount more, anchor that left heel. So to do that, press into your hands, try to press your left hip back in space, and extend through the sides of your waist. Pull your hips away from your armpits. Kick that right leg straight back behind, and then we'll step the right foot all the way through. So find your fingertips for a moment. Get really strong through the legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to come hands to your front thigh. So just like we did in our low lunge, our Anjaneyasana, press the hands into that front thigh to really lift your heart. Again, feeling that space being created from hips to armpits. Heart lifts and opens. Shoulders just melt back a little bit. Maybe feel the throat open or the head tilt back. Keeping all that openness, all that strength in the back leg, just float the arms open and turn the palms up a little bit. Finding it a little bit easier to get a little mobile through the shoulder blades. So maybe tuck those shoulder blades under the back of your heart a little bit and kind of peel the upper back back. Inhale, keep all that, float the arms. Straight up, reach the fingertips up. Big breath in, and then as you exhale, let's pull our heart towards our front knee, extend our arms straight back, fingertips reach back, heart reaches forward. As you exhale, float the hands to the ground. Let's step back, down dog. Inhale, high plank. Let the weight shift, drop the knees, chest and chin, all the way to the belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Let's take a child's pose between sides for this flow. So curl your toes under, press to knees, and then back to your child's pose. So making a nice easy child's pose. Just gonna check the camera one more time. Okay. So maybe let the elbows be a little bent. Really get round through the back if that feels good. Feel the breath build through the back body. When you feel ready, transition back to downward facing dog. Take your time. If you want to spend a couple breaths in your down dog, spend a couple breaths in your down dog. And then we'll send our right toes forward just a little bit. Left leg's going to float high. We'll bend, twist, and open. And so as we kind of transition with one leg lifted, again, our tendency is to let the weight shift forward. So keep pressing into the hands, melting the right hip, right heel down and back. Creating space. Sending that left knee high, hips to stack. And then extend that left leg straight back, using a little momentum, sweep through. Back leg is strong. When you feel ready, hands to your front thigh. Remembering you can always stagger your stance a little bit if you're feeling a little wobbly. With hands on the thigh, use that to lift your heart. Press the shoulders back. Finding a little stability here. Finding any amount of ease. And then when you're ready, open the arms up, turn the palms up. Snuggle those shoulder blades onto your back. And as you start to feel like this is maybe a little bit of a back bend or a heart opener, don't forget to connect a little bit with the ribs. So there should feel like a shortening of the distance between the ribs, even as you're opening your heart. Lean back, heart is open, throat is open. Keeping all that, sweep the arms up. And then as you exhale, go ahead and tilt that heart towards your front knee. Reach your arms back. Big squeeze into the inner thighs. Low belly pulls up and in. Lengthen the back of your neck. Looking down beyond your front toes. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step back to down dog. Inhale to plank. Lowering down, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, release. And again, back to child's pose for a few breaths. So an alternative to that open knee child's pose, which might feel good here to round the spine a little bit, would to keep the knees and the thighs together and just sort of round over your thighs. You can also tuck the arms behind you. One or two more breaths here. When you're ready, find your way to hands and knees. I'm going to face you for this one. So from your hands and knees, we're going to step our right foot just to the outside of our right hand, and same with the left foot, just to the outside of our left hand. So a little wide-legged fold here. So straighten the legs any amount, just drop in for a couple breaths. Let the head go. Let the knees be soft a little bit. So go ahead and start to bend the knees, Start to sit in a little bit of a chair or a little bit of a squat here. So we're going to keep those legs a little wide. And once you're kind of sitting in your chair or your squat, bring your elbows up to your thighs. So we're going to bring the hands together, fingertips pointing forward. So let's just check in here. There's a little hugging into the inner thighs. Feet are really grounded, heart is open. It's going to find a little bit of a cat-cow here, but try to isolate as much as you can into your upper back. So as you inhale, just pull the heart towards your fingers as you press the shoulders back, maybe even tilt the head up a little bit. And then as you exhale, push the forearms into your thighs, tuck the chin and round your upper spine. Inhale, drop a little bit, concave, tilt the head up. Exhale, press down, little rounding. And then again, with the breath, inhale, heart pulls forward. Exhale, heart presses up. A couple more times, inhale, and exhale. Find your breath. When you're ready, come on back to neutral. Take a breath in. And exhale, release hands. Come back to that forward fold. If you want to walk it a little wider, that might feel nice. Maybe bend the knees a little bit and just really drop in. Just do something that feels good. Maybe a bind, grabbing opposite elbows. Peace fingers around your big toes. No right or wrong here. Just do what feels good. Couple of breaths before we move on. So from your forward fold version, go ahead and walk yourself back to your downward facing dog. From down dog, float that right leg high. We're going to bend, twist, and open once again. So you can choose to stay, or if you want to play a little bit and flip your dog, bring that right foot all the way over to the earth. Plant both feet, lift your hips, reach your heart back. Reach that right arm back. So if you're flipped, meet us back. Let's all come back to our three-legged dog. Take a moment, square up the hips. Big breath in, and then exhale, step through. Heel toe your right foot a little wider, and then drop your back heel to the earth, warrior one. So as you plant your feet, dropping into that right knee, any amount, pull the right hip, right ribs, and right shoulder back a little bit. Stay really strong through that back leg, no collapsing into the knee or peeling the left heel up. Maybe take your arms a little wider and bend the elbows a little bit. Maybe, again, a little more mobility in the shoulder blades. Lift the heart. And then interlace your hands behind you, preparing for our humble warrior. Inhale, open the heart. Maybe send your knuckles down towards the earth. Float the head of the arm bones back around the back of your heart. And then exhale, humble. Dropping the head just to the inside of the right knee. So maybe notice that tendency for that right hip to want to pop out a little bit and create some space for you. Try to keep that right hip hugging in. Let go of the head. The arms just softly float away from the low back. Ground down into your feet. Rise all the way back up. Warrior one. Exhale, hands to the earth. So step back to down dog. If you'd like to flow through between these two sides, go for it. Knees, chest, chin. Find your cobra. Back to knees and then down dog. If not, that's fine. You can choose like me, just to stay in down dog until we move on to side two. When you're ready, inhale, left leg's gonna float high. Bend, twist, and open.
You can stay for a few breaths or play and flip your dog, bringing that left foot all the way onto the mat, pressing into both feet, lifting your hips, reaching your left arm back. Open your heart. Nice and secure in that right hand. Go ahead and bring your left hand back to the mat. Three-legged dog. Take a moment here. Don't hurry through. And then left foot steps through. Heel toe it just a little wider, and then we'll peel the back heel to the mat. I also like to hop my back foot wide a little bit for my warrior one. That gives me a little bit more space to try to pull my right side through and my left side back a little bit without feeling the need to drop that back knee. Open up the arms a little bit, snuggle the shoulder blades, feel your heart lift, your collarbones widen. And then interlace your hands at your low back, and then maybe again, send those knuckles down. You should feel the head of the arm bones, the muscles sort of wrap around behind you towards the back of your heart. Any amount more, open your heart and lift your head, or tilt your head back, and then exhale, humble your warrior. Let the head go. Back to the breath. Find your feet. Rise back, Vera one. Exhale, hands to the earth. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Again, if you'd like to flow, flow. Knees, chest, chin to cobra. Finding your way back to down dog. And then let's all meet in child's pose. From child's pose, just lift your head, look forward. Let your weight shift forward to hands and knees, but then drop your elbows to the mat. So turn your palms up. Let your fingers sort of curl in naturally. The forearms are parallel, or maybe even elbows a little wider than your wrist. That's fine too. So again, just a modified version of cat-cow here. So as you inhale, you'll just sort of pull the heart towards your open palms. And then as you exhale, turn your palms down, press the mat away from you, and really round the upper spine. You may even feel a little shift back through the whole torso, the whole upper body. And then again, inhale, turn your palms up, draw your heart towards your fingers, roll your shoulders open. Exhale, turn your palms down, push your forearms forward, round the spine. A couple more times with your breath. When you're ready, just finding neutral. Coming back to your forearms, turn your palms down. Line up the forearms to parallel. Really anchor through the finger pads. Kick out the pinky fingers a little wider if you can. Feel your heart draw towards your thumbs as you wrap the shoulder blades onto your back. Curl your toes under and then step one leg back at a time to your forearm plank. You may just hold for a breath and then drop your knees again. If you can stay, stay. Little hug into the inner thighs, but push your heels back. Your ribs knit a little bit. One at a time, come to the tops of your feet, and then drop your hips, drop your legs, Sphinx pose. You might need to walk your elbows forward a little bit. Spread those fingers wide, draw your heart forward. Again, the head of the arm bones should feel like they're pressing back a little bit. almost like you're trying to drag yourself towards your thumbs. Legs are active, tops of the feet pressed down into the mat. With an exhale, release the forehead. Either turn your head to one side or make a pillow for your forehead. Again, wag your tail a couple times. Let your legs be a little wider. Bend your knees and windshield wiper. And then releasing the toes to the earth. Come to the tops of your feet. Bring the feet really close together. Let your arms walk behind you. Turn your palms down. Rest your forehead or your chin on the mat. Press down into your hands and float the shoulders up. Again, try to wrap the shoulder blades down and in. Float your head an inch or two off the mat. Get really strong through the legs, the quads engaged. Float your toes. Really fan out the toes and try to touch the wall behind you with your toes. And then float the hands off the mat. As you float the hands, maybe roll your heart open, roll your shoulders open a little bit more. Make sure you're breathing. Exhale, release. Bring everything down to the mat. Turn your head to one side. Maybe flip your palms up. A couple easy breaths here. Go ahead and turn your forehead or your chin back to the mat. Bring your feet close together. Tops of the feet, tops of the toenails, touch the mat. This time walk your arms in front of you, but wide, wider than your shoulders. Come up to fingertips. Again, wrap those shoulders onto your back. Press down into the fingertips. Lift your toes. Lift your head. Fan out the toes. Press down into the fingertips. Lift your heart even more, and then float your hands off the ground. Squeeze a tennis ball between your thighs. Imaginary tennis ball. Exhale, release. Turn your head to the opposite side. Release your forearms. Turn your palms up. Nice and easy. We're going to slip the hands under our shoulders. We're going to press up to hands and knees. And then very, very slowly make your way back to child's pose. So tack your hands to your mat so you get a nice big stretch through the back as you melt the sit bones back towards your heels. And then let the arms be soft. Touch your forehead to the mat. Okay, so we're going to reach for our props here. So transition out of your child's pose, grab that blanket roll. So we're going to build our supported cobra here. Good, so the rolled blanket's going to come about where your hip points are, right below the belly button. And then your two blocks are going to come, or your block and your book, or your two books, or whatever you have, are going to be right about where your shoulders are going to be. So come to lay on your blanket roll, again, right about where your hips are. Touch your forehead to your mat. You can walk your blocks out a little wider. And we'll press down into the feet, press into the hands, float the elbows a little bit, and then press into your props, peeling your heart up and open to your supported cobra. And then once you're sort of lifted, maybe then kind of pull the elbows in, press into your props even more, and open your heart. Couple breaths here. When you're ready, come on down, nice and easy. As you come down, bow the head a little bit, tuck the chin. Let the spine get long. You can set your two blocks or books aside. Or actually keep them handy, because I'm going to come into one last option here. But if you don't want to do this, come back to that supported cobra, especially if you liked that. But I want to come into a locust variation. It's also sort of known as a prep pose for the chin balance. So we'll come onto the belly. Might be a little goofy to get in, so stay with me. But again, if you don't want to play with this, that's totally fine. Come back to your supported cobra. We'll drop the forehead to the mat. And then we're going to tuck our arms underneath us. So kind of roll to one side, tuck your arm under, roll to the other side, tuck your other arm under. So your palms are kind of on your thighs or your upper thighs. Drop the forehead to the mat again. So really press down into your left foot, left leg, and then just lift the right leg off the ground as much as you can. We'll bend the left knee and we'll prop that left foot on your right leg. Now lift your head and take your chin to the mat. So you can maybe float that right leg a little higher, walk your foot down your thigh a little bit. And then when you're ready, release. So release the left toes, release that right leg. We're going to keep those arms tucked under for side two. So maybe bring your chin back to the mat. Any amount, just to get it started, you'll float the left leg, and then you'll bend the right knee, float that left leg higher, and tuck the right foot to the left thigh. So as you sit with it for a minute, you might be able to walk that foot up a little bit. Spend a couple breaths here. And when you're ready, nice and easy, come on down. Go ahead and then slip those hands underneath you. And again, we'll press back to child's pose, but take your time. Let your hands stay really tacked down to the mat as you send the sit bones back. And then soften into it. So as you inhale, just walk yourself back to sit on your heels. Let's just take a few easy breaths seated here. Neutralize the spine a little bit. So let your shoulders soften away from your ears. Feel your neck get a little longer, the crown of your head float a little bit. Close your eyes and soften your face. And just a natural, easy pattern to your breath. So we'll transition on to our backs now. So if you want to take a moment and maybe dim your lights or grab a sweatshirt or some socks, take a moment so you get comfortable. And so once you're on your back, just start with your feet planted, with your knees bent. Just take it a little bit easy on the spine here. So send your hands to your thighs and just give a little push into your thighs with your hands. Real gentle. And then release that. Let your arms just rest at your sides, and then walk your toes in towards your sit bones until you can't anymore. And then one foot at a time, just float your feet off the ground. So you'll feel the knees pull in just a little bit, just enough. Not overdoing it. Sit for a moment here. More of a rounding to the lower back here now. So nice and gentle, place your hands on your shins or your knees. Just let the weight of your hands pull the legs down a little bit, so a little more rounding in the back. Keep the back of your head and the backs of your shoulders touching the mat. Start to create a little bit more weight, sort of pulling your knees now in towards your chest or your armpits. Knees can be a little wide if that feels better. if your knees aren't already wide, take your knees wide. You might even feel the backs of your arms gripping the earth. Keep all that, but flex your feet and start to lift your feet up. Take your hands to the backs of your thighs. Keep pulling the thighs down towards your armpits. And then finally reach for your big toes with your peace fingers or any version that you like to grab for your happy baby. Taking that in just a little bit more. So ever so slightly with your hands on your feet, create a little pressure, pulling the feet, the toes back behind you. And you should feel your sacrum just barely float off the mat, rolling up a little bit. And then release that. Let your sacrum touch the mat again. Float your feet forward a little bit. And we'll do that a couple more times, just a little pulse. So pull the feet back, float the sacrum a little bit. Try to make it as effortless as possible. And then float the feet forward, touch the sacrum back down, and then one more time. Pull the feet back, round the low back, lift the sacrum, and then release. Now go ahead and bring the knees together, wrap your arms around your knees, lift your head up toward your knees. Release your head, release your arms, walk your feet back down the mat. So keep the knees a little bit bent, but go wide. Wide with the feet, wide with the arms. And then drop both knees to your right. Big breath in, big breath out. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, knees to your left. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, knees back to center. And then we'll walk the legs long, keeping them wide. Let the arms stay wide, palms turned up, preparing for final resting pose. Eyes closed. Let the breath become very easy, very natural. It may even start to become a little shallow. As you really start to recognize becoming still. Physical body is at ease. Let the feet and the toes be soft. Release any holding, any clenching in the thighs, in the glutes, in the belly. Feel your heart open and soften with every breath. Let your fingers curl naturally in. There's a heavy warm weight in the palms, like sand in the palms. Release your bottom teeth from your top teeth. Unsquint your eyes. Smooth the skin on your forehead. Allow your whole body to feel heavy. Staying here for several minutes. begin to deepen your breath. Bring gentle movement back into the body, wiggling fingers and toes. When you feel ready, bend at your knees. Make your way onto one side to rest for a few more breaths. Pressing hands into the earth, find your way to an easy seat. Allowing your eyes to remain closed. Drawing hands to Anjali Mudra, bowing head to heart. Reflecting on the light that resides naturally within us. In loving gratitude, send that light out to all those in your life who love and support you. As always, I am honored, full of gratitude, to sit in this seat of teacher. I'm missing the studio, and I'm missing my students and the other teachers, and hoping we can get back there soon. Thank you for practicing with me tonight. Stay safe, stay healthy. Much love. Namaste.